Grella, talk to me about these games yesterday. Let's start with the Rome derby, because coming into this game, we know what these two teams are like. We could have probably expected it to be very low scoring. It felt a bit of a coin flip, didn't it, for this match? Did it play out how you expected?
I think it played out like I expected. Both teams kind of don't want to play. They're not at the highest levels right now of playing the greatest football. Lazio's very sideways, backwards, want to play 1,000 passes before they look like any danger. Roma, quite frankly, without Dybala and Lukaku, I mean, then they did play yesterday. Dybala came out at halftime. But without them, really, the rest of the team is just not of the levels. You know, I think what Mourinho is trying to do at Roma is do what he did at Inter when they won the treble. And I don't think he has the players to do it. And so then there's the frustrations and the red cards and everything else. But I think the pleasant surprise was, you know, this was a quarterfinal Coppa Italia match that I've said myself, oh, well, it's just the Coppa Italia. And I can't even tell you how intense it was and how Lazio celebrated at the end was just, I mean, incredible. I mean, we watched 15, 20 minutes at the end where they just rolled clips from the stadium, and it was way better than one of our post shows, by the way, Poppy. And it was just, you know, video and clips of them celebrating this win against Rome, and it was just incredible, the level of the match.
First of all, it's an honor to meet a Peaky Blinder, so I'm glad. Second of all, I want to know, this match in particular, I think it leaves a lot of questions about Jose Mourinho's future, as if there weren't enough already. Can Roma even afford to keep him? Do they now want to keep him? This seems to not be going the way we expect. We think of a manager like Mourinho, and we think he can get the best out of the players he has. And I know he doesn't really have a full squad that he would want, but it doesn't seem to be clicking with this team unless he has his exact first 11 in. Where do you think we stand with Mourinho, and what do you think losing this match says about his tenure here at Roma?
Yeah, well, look, 4 losses, 1 draw, and 1 win against your rival. And anyone who watches Italian football knows that rivalry means so much to them. What the result is in that game almost means more than where they finish in the Serie, almost. So it's huge. And he hasn't been good in those games against Lazio, for starters. Number 2, they expected top 4 when they brought him in. They haven't got that either, sitting in 8th place now. So if you take away the European Championship, which was the Conference League, the first year that they had it, okay, fine. You got to take that with a grain of salt because it was a new tournament, but it's still Europe. And then he made it to the final of the Europa League the next year. But if you take those 2 things away, I mean, he's struggling pretty badly. Now, when you look at the team and how much money they can spend, you also feel bad for Mourinho because he just doesn't have the quality that he had at Inter or the quality that he's had at other clubs where he can play in that way and sort of give team spirit. So you do feel bad for him that way. But then to flip back again to put him, put the eyes on Mourinho is, all the red cards, right? All the shenanigans, all the things that are going on and off the field and on the sideline. And you see now how it's carried through to the team. I mean, there was just red cards flying yesterday for no reason. I don't mind a hard challenge. I don't mind a nasty, nasty challenge or stopping a counterattack or sending a message or any of those kind of frustrations. That's fine because we're human beings, right? And players are human beings. But the red cards after the game, the red cards for talking to the referee, the red cards for all the little handbag pushing and talking and all that stuff, that's no good. And it's not a good message for kids watching the game. It's not a good message for anyone watching the game. But also, if you're a Roma fan and you're losing to Lazio and then you're watching Mancini yap, and then also get another red card after the game, you're watching your coaches get sent off. I mean, you can see that what he's sort of done, the players are sort of picking that up. And, you see there through the images, it was just entertaining, I guess you can say, but it was handbags all around. And when you're not winning, that stuff really gets annoying.
No, I completely agree. It's annoying. Well, let's jump over to Milan and Atalanta because that was a disappointing loss for Milan. And especially now that Scudetto is their only chance at winning a trophy, how disappointed do you think they are to have that loss and kind of go into this year, and this is their only chance to take home some change?
It's hard for me to say this because I'm a big fan of Atalanta, especially their ownership. They're all Duke guys, and they're really nice guys, and they want to do well, and the project is amazing. But Milan got robbed yesterday. If you watch the game, the penalties, I thought Jimenez touched the ball. I thought there could have been a penalty on Holm at the end that would have tied the game. You have to rewind to look at what happened in the offseason for Milan. And I think what happened was they lost a lot of important pieces, one of them being Paolo Maldini, right? And then, they got rid of key members of the spine of their team and then brought in all these new guys. And we were kind of like, well, what's this going to look like? We were really skeptical as Serie A analysts and fans, and they hit the ground running. Like the first 4 games they were incredible. I mean, the football that they were playing, it looked like they didn't have to rely just on Leao anymore. And then they played Inter and lost 5-1, where they played in a pretty open game. And then they started to think, okay, what do we do here? Do we switch? Do we do this? And now, since then, it's been up and down. So when you look at them, there was a lot of change in the team, in personnel. And I think we got carried away early on with, oh, yeah, they're flying again. They're awesome. It takes time for these relationships to build and for the team to figure out who they are and how they want to play exactly. So I think for Milan and for Pioli also, I know a lot of people calling for Pioli's head. I think you give them a year. Give these players a year. Focus on getting in the top 4 because realistically, that's what the expectations are. Focus on working on what identity you want to have because I think it's changed a lot from when they've played in the Serie A against the smaller teams and when they've played in the Champions League against the bigger teams. And I think it's there. I think the quality is there. I think, they play PSG in San Siro where Leao was incredible and Milan was incredible, and they win that game. So it's there. The potential's there. It's just the consistency. It's the conceding a lot of goals at the moment. But I give Pioli more time. I give Milan more time and say, hey, listen, finish in the top 4. Let's see about next season. Let's put all these pieces together again for next season.
It does feel harsh to say all the criticism that Pioli's got, especially considering where they are in the league. They made the Champions League semi-final last season. They won the Scudetto not too long ago. You drink that coffee, Grella. Is it espresso or is it cappuccino?
No, regular American coffee, because you can hang out with it, All the Italian guys are like, oh, I only drink espresso. But espresso, it's like a shot at the bar, and it's done. So
I was just checking, seeing as you're all so funny about what coffee you can have when. Later on today, it's the Juventus against Frosinone game. What do you think we'll see in this game? Because Frosinone probably have exceeded expectations as a newly promoted team. It hasn't been that good for them in the league lately, losing their last 4. But what they did to Napoli in that second half, I mean, could they give Juventus another upset today?
Frosinone is a team that is, if one day I got the opportunity to coach, I would love for my team to play that way. Because I think they stick to really the way they want to play. They stick to the plan. They want to play football. They want to break lines with the passing on the ground. They can be quite direct at times. And so I love the way they play football. But what I found amazing about them is that when they're winning or losing or whatever situation they're going on, they're still sticking to who they are. I think that's important. I think that sends a really strong message of how well the manager's done and how much the players believe in the system. Now, on the flip side, they played a few weeks ago, Juventus-Frosinone, and Juventus had a difficult time. It was a Vlahovic winner late on in the game, a contested header that he had to score. But Frosinone dominated possession. And so I think we'll see that again. I think we'll see a Frosinone side that's going to have a lot of the ball and have a lot of good moments in the match. But again, it's Juventus with, hey, give me 40, 30% of the ball, no problem. We'll find a way to win the game. We have the game changers. We have the 3 big, strong, powerful center backs. We're going to cross balls. I mean, virtually all their crosses all their goals are coming from crosses. So Juventus also on the flip side, uglier game plan, but they also have an identity and a game plan. They're going to defend. It's going to be difficult for Frosinone. There's not going to be a lot of space. It's going to be physical, and there's going to be a lot of balls in the box for Vlahovic or whoever they end up going with today. And I think with that quality, Juventus probably edges this one out.